Good evening, good evening, good evening. I have the incredible, amazing Miss Jackie Williams here on our podcast today, and she's going to help us, me, everyone that listens tonight about how to land that job and land that perfect job and just interview better. Let's start there. Interviewing better and getting that into that place of employment. Right now, there's 10 million Americans that are unemployed right now. And so this show, I hope it serves you, and I hope it helps, and I hope it adds value as you look to land the career of your dreams and get back into the workforce. And so, Mom, Miss Jackie, you know I call you Mom. We always... So if you hear me refer to her as Mom, I have known this incredible woman for over 5+ years now. We have grown, and she has taught me so much. Let's start there. What is the prime dress attire for an interview? When you got that call and you got that invitation for an interview, what is the dress? What what shoes should I wear? What should I wear? A tie? Is a bow tie appropriate? Is a dress shirt, a button shirt appropriate? What's appropriate for that first initial round of interviews?
Well, it of course it depends on what type of job it is, but I'm going to assume that the person that's interviewing is going to a position that is business or business professional. So you should dress the part. You should wear business attire. If the type of business is a person where they wear khakis and button-down shirts, then you should have that on, or have Dockers or shoes that are professional. No sneakers, no worn over or old torn up shoes, but the best that you can afford. Go to the thrift shop and buy some that are nice if you have to, but you should look the part. You should look professional when you walk in.
No jeans
Unless you're going to apply for a job at Long John Silver's or Red Lobster or someplace like that. It depends. I mean, if you're going to a restaurant to apply, or you're going to be a waiter, that might be appropriate. But I'm assuming that I'm talking to a crowd of people who are looking for their dream job or to land the job that's going to help them to build their future. So if that's the case, you need to look the part of the person that company or that agency or that selecting official is looking for. Somebody who knows who they are and looks like they're going to bring a great quality of work to the company. And that shows in how you look, that you care about yourself.
What about hairstyles? Are there hairstyles that can be deemed inappropriate? Like if I have dreadlocks, or if I have bubbles. I call them bubbles. I grew up with hair bubbles in my hair. Not my sisters. Right. So is that appropriate hair, and is there not appropriate hair to wear to an interview?
I mean, everybody, if you don't know, I'm very comical. So I mean, there are. Of course, there are inappropriate hairstyles. I mean, the day that you have your interview, that's not the day you should put on your pink wig or your purple braids. Today's society, a lot of people wear dreads. A lot of people wear braids. A lot of people wear different hairstyles. But is that hairstyle neat? It's not, being natural doesn't mean getting out of the bed and not touching your hair with a brush or a comb. It should look like you touched it, like you tried to keep it up when you come into the office. And a lot of places won't tell you that they're using that against you, but you need to think about who owns the company and what the picture is of the person that they're hiring. How does everybody else look in the office? Do they look well kept? Do they look neat? Because there's ways to keep your hair neat and wear natural styles. Keep your afro, trimmed. Keep your dreads lined up. Keep them kept. Don't have that. What do you call it? What is the word I'm looking
Taper?
for? The knotty kind of, like you haven't had your dreads twisted in like 2 or 3 years, and
okay,
you need to take care of your hair. I mean, because I don't want to tell people they can't have a particular style, because it's 2020 and young people have different hairstyles. The problem that employers have is that you come in looking like you're going to a party or a rave at night, and you're going to dance at work when really you're trying to work your job. Once you get the job, you might have a little bit more liberty than you do when you're going to the interview. You want to be at least selected before you show them who you really are with your hairstyle. No pink hair, no purple, no matted hair. I mean, do the best, look your best. Go to the barbershop, go to the hairstylist, get your hair done, get your weave tight, Do the thing you're supposed to do so that you look the best that you can.
Absolutely. So this is always a big controversial talk that I've always heard when it comes to that image. You mentioned it earlier. Image about looking the part for that company that's going to hire you. How important should my image that I portray to you on interview day match or be aligned with my social media? Are employers looking at my social media, my LinkedIn, my professional outreach? If I'm in 2020 we're now protesting, if I always have my butt on the sink, this girl has, if I'm a type of guy that I'm posting pictures with guns and knives, and is that social media image just as important as the image that I'm going to portray in the office? And are those two linked, or those don't have to be matched at all? Are employers even considering that?
It absolutely is important. I mean, it depends on who you're working for, of course, but like, let's say for instance, I'm a federal employee. And as a federal employee, what I post is a direct reflection of the organization I work for. My political stance. Am I soliciting votes? Am I trashing the president of the United States? What am I doing on my social media page? Am I threatening the people who work at the VA? Am I saying I'm going to shoot somebody because they treated me badly? All those are things that can be found on your social media and used against you when somebody's seeing it. And in today's society, everybody's looking. People you think aren't looking, they're looking at your page. Pictures at bridal showers where you took that laugh and you had that cup that had that piece of equipment, or that straw that had I love something on it. It's all in fun, and you at a private institute. But if you work for a major corporation and they can find that, and that's on your social media page, depending on what company it is, they can fire you for that. We all have seen.
Really?
We all have seen there have been stories already on the news where people were fired and didn't manage to get their jobs back for that. And I'm not saying that you don't have a liberty to express, your personal beliefs or your religion or things like that. I'm talking about, like you said, porn and slaughtering other people's reputations, or making threats against the government. Doing those types of things they're frowned upon by organizations and companies. And private sector, they're really big at looking at your social media pages.
Really?
They really are. And the federal government, we see it too. I know we've had patients who have made threats against employees of the federal government, and we've used those posts to ban or to document on those people who have said those things, because they figure you're saying something you want people to hear on your social media page. And if all you're talking about on your social media page is how you're going to murder somebody, why would someone not listen? And even if you never really do it, do you really want to hire the person who rants about murder all day long on their social media page to come and work for your high-class organization? When that person's angry, or when you don't give them that day off, how are they going to respond in that situation? What do you think happens, or what do you think was on the pages of some people who have long gone forth in history and been arrested and done some things? You'll probably find that if you search their writings and the things they did, you'll find evidence of those things in those places. So people are looking to see who you are when somebody's not looking at you face to face.
Absolutely. And that's a huge ticker for me, because in the information age, in the age of technology where everything can be Googled, everything is at a point and click, there are some people that don't believe that should matter. My social media is private, it's intimate to me, and it pays no never mind to who I am at the job. And I ask that question because I know it's a factor, and I know that we have to be careful on what we subscribe to, because it is monitored, it is tracked, and it is taken into consideration. The biggest thing I've always heard with interviewing, and you can attest to this or not, is who do people want to work with? Do I want to go to work and deal with you. And is that a fair belief to have? I need to have the mindset that someone has to tolerate me at the workplace. Is that a fair assessment to make and mindset to have when I go in front of you or in front of a board?
I think it's fair. I think that you have to weigh what it is you're trying to do. I mean, it's social media. So social is your interaction. To be social is to interact with people. So what is the picture of your social interaction that you're portraying to the world? What are you showing people? You've been measured on social behavior at your job. You're being monitored on social behavior when you're interviewing. They use performance-based interviewing to see how you respond in particular situations. How do you handle irate customers? How do you respond to someone who doesn't listen to instructions? How do you teach people? That's all your social interaction with people that you don't know. So if what you're representing socially to the world is that you don't cope well, you don't interact well, you can't critically think, you can't problem solve, you can't resolve an issue without pulling a gun, or you can't disagree with someone and still be their friend, or you have to block someone or not talk to someone every time they disagree with you, then what will they think about you when you're in their office and maybe you don't agree with the person sitting next to you? Because no one has to agree with you 100%. We all have different opinions and belief systems. But if I own the company, then I want the person to come to my company who I don't have to worry about being arrested for something that I did or something that someone said on the job. And not saying that happens a lot, but you do have to think about who are you representing yourself to in the public. How do you look when somebody looks for you? What is it they think about you when they see your page? It is social media, but you should think about people see you in your posts. Who are you representing? Who are you when they see it? Is that really who you are? Because we know a lot of people lie on social media. They become people they are not. But then there are people who are on there who are always showing you who they are. And when something happens, it was always there, and nobody paid attention to it.
Bravo. And that is impactful and powerful to me. And I remember an instance with me, because that self-talk is powerful. I can talk myself out of something before I ever come into that meeting with you and that social interaction. How can I be myself in a workplace? So you and I, we are Christian believers. We are people of faith. Is that helpful for me to show my affection and my obedience to God and my obedience to God even in the workplace? Is that something employers don't even care about? Because my thought process is the example of my desk, my office desk. I can't have certain things on my desk,
right,
because I'm in the workplace. Maybe a picture of my family, a dog, but I can't sit there and can I put sage and charms and incense and crystals and chakras and all of that religion and spiritual things in the workplace? Is that also viewed or considered religion and spirituality in the workplace?
I mean, I'm government too, like you. So, I mean, there are things in my office. There are no crosses. There are no, things in there that overtly say I'm a Christian. But I'm a firm believer that you are who you say. If you are who you say you are, that you don't separate your moral stance, your value system, from who you are at work. If you're not a thief at home, you shouldn't be a thief at work. If you don't lie at home because you believe it to be wrong, then you shouldn't lie at work, because it's your value system. It's the thing that helps you to be who you are. Your morality, your spirituality is how you live your life. It's like I tell everyone, it doesn't matter how much I say I love you. What matters is how I act towards you. Do I act lovingly towards you? If I say I love you, but I beat you in your head every day, you probably won't believe that I'm a person who loves you. It's not convincing to you. It's like the best apology is changed behavior.
Yes.
So if you're, I'm a believer. People at my job, I didn't go and tell everybody, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm a God girl. But how I live my life let them know that I was different. So there have been times when people have come in my office and talked to me, and the things that I said, the things that I used, or the examples that I gave led them to believe or even ask me, why do you feel that way? So if you ask me, then I'll tell you. Because I believe in a higher power, and I believe his name is Jesus Christ. And so then we talk about it. But I'm not different at home than I am at work. I am the same Jackie at home and the same Jackie at work. I won't steal from you there, and I won't steal from you here. I won't curse you out at work, and I won't curse you out at home. Because it's what I believe to be wrong based on the principles that I live my life by. Now, a lot of agencies, when you go, they don't want you to live overtly. They don't want you to, like you said, post pictures and, crucifixes. And because usually, especially in the federal government, it's because there are other systems of belief that are there. But even then, I may not condemn someone else for their belief system, but I never abandon mine when I'm there. I think that most companies see a person who is sold out to their moral code or their value system as an asset to their company. Because if it's a good moral code, now if you're sold out to, being somebody who's, violent or something, that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone who has great, great instincts, great value system, someone who is, full of integrity and character. Even when people aren't looking at them, they're who they say they are, even when you're not watching them. They're always working, they excel. Not because you're looking, because it's who they are inside. Those are employees that people look at. Those are employees who rise to the top. Because even when the boss isn't there, it's who they are. Because the Bible declares that I work as unto Jesus Christ. So because he's watching, because I represent him, I do the best that I can on my work site. My boss doesn't know that's why I'm doing it unless she asks me specifically, but it's who I am. So I'm always going to go the extra mile and do the best job and serve my customers well because he is watching me. So I bring with me my Christian code, but it causes me to excel on my professional job because of my moral code. And I have gotten many compliments. People, they didn't know. Most people know now. It's been 32 years. People know me. Well, 33. They know me. So a lot of people know that I'm a God girl. They know that's who I am. But even before they knew I was a person they could trust, they knew I was a person they could speak to, they knew I was a person that wasn't going to lead them wrong, that I was going to assist them, that I was going to go the extra mile, because that's who I've always been since I've been there. And that has gotten me positions I wasn't applying for. It's gotten me offers I didn't ask for. It's gotten me promotions I didn't think I'd get, because I always have gone the extra mile, because that's who I am.
And that's the God you serve.
Yes.
That's the God we serve.
Yes.
And I wanna backtrack. I purposely poached this question to my audience before coming to you today, and you talked about employers are going to do their research before they hire you, and I've heard it. I've even felt it when I apply for certain positions. They have these long lists of questions, surveys, quizzes. Take this test, take this, can you type 80 words a minute? And it's a test. All these different things and all these questions that are sometimes I feel are already on my resume. Why do I have to do these quizzes to prove what's already on my resume? I say I can type 40 words per minute. Why do I have to take a test to show the proficiency in it? Why do I have to take a EQ test to show my emotional intellect as well as my intelligence on the work site? Why not just take the resume and go from there as an employer?
Well, that's that thing you just said. You can say that you can do anything. We all know that people pay people to write beautiful resumes. Some people have these wonderfully crafted resumes with years of experience, and they proclaim to be the best thing since sliced bread. But when you get them on the job, if you just look at the resume, you find that same person can't do the very thing that was on the first line of their first position on their resume. So these days, back in the day when I first started working, I'm not going to tell anybody in the audience how old I am, but when I first started working, the interview process was that they took my application, they brought me in, they said, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Me too.
And I was allowed to tell them whatever I wanted them to know. And because the job wasn't probably like the one I'm working right now, they decided that they liked me or not, and they gave me an opportunity to prove who I was. And if I wasn't good, they let me go. That's the way it was. You could say, oh, I'm best. Oh, I come to work on time. I this and that and other. And then you just, left the office and hoped that they gave you the job and you started showing up on time because you said you did. Well, in today's society, especially depending upon what the opportunity is, and especially when you talk about positions that pay pretty well, or positions that have promotion potential, positions where you have accountability or complex work that's required from you. Because there are some jobs that have no complexity. So if it's just that you're typing memo after memo after memo, then all you got to do is prove you can type. But there are some positions that require you have a knowledge of a particular system, or it requires that you be able to critically think your stuff all the way through from beginning to end to something. And you telling me you can do that is not enough. So I'm looking to see if you possess the technical skills you say you possess. Like, I'm an HR person. I interview people who say they do HR. So I ask them HR technical questions. So if I ask you about recruitment and you tell me you're a recruiter and you can't tell me how to recruit somebody, I know that you have not recruited. Even if you haven't recruited in the way that I have, there is a method that you use to hire somebody even where you were doing recruitment. Even if it was that I stood on the corner and asked people as they walked by, can you come work for my company? That was your method of recruitment. But if I ask you a recruitment question, you're applying for a recruitment job and you have no example for me, no behavior for me that you have done or that you've performed, then I know that that piece of information on your resume is something you crafted for that job. So I'm looking for your demonstration, your ability to demonstrate your ability to do the things that I need you to do. So I'm going to have you to type because you said you could. Can you type? And if you can, do you make 100 mistakes when you type? Do you know where the keys are on the keyboard? Because anybody can put their hands on the keyboard and never type a word. So I don't need you to type for me if that's what you do. Some people say that they can do, like accounting, but they really can't add. Some people want to be writers or secretaries, but they can't spell or punctuate sentences. Who wants anyone who can't punctuate or who doesn't know grammar to be their secretary or the admin person who proofreads the work that leaves the office when you can't even spell? You've been texting so long. That's what you do on paper too.
You really talk that way.
We don't want people like that. We can't use that. It's fine at the house. It's not good at the job. So they're asking you to demonstrate for them the things you said in your work, in your paper, that you could do. Because you can pay someone to write whatever is needed. You get the PD or the position description, or you get the announcement or whatever it is that you're using to apply for the job, and you just craft those words into your resume. True. And you pay somebody $100, $600 to do it. And you look great on paper. But can you demonstrate, can you express behaviors, performance-based? Can you tell them sometime that you performed that activity with a real live example, a real live outcome, a real live evaluation of how you perform? Did you take an assessment of how you could do it better the next time? What did you do? Can you show me that when I ask you the question? And if you can, then I know you wrote it down and you also have done it. Because I said before, the only way I know you can do something, or the only way I know you believe something, is how you live, not what you say. You can say anything to me, but how do you live? How do you work? And that's what the purpose of those questions are, is that you can demonstrate to me, not just say it, not just write it, but talk to me real time about the experiences you've had that allow you to do the work. That's the person I'm looking for. I tell everybody, you can go to school. I can have two mechanics, one who went to school and has a master's degree or even a doctorate in fixing a car, but he never touched it. But I have a young man over here who's done nothing but work in his father's garage for 20 years fixing cars, and he even came to the interview with grease under his fingers. So I asked the young man with a doctorate how to fix the car, and he says, well, I read it in a book that you're supposed to do so and so and so. And I said, well, can you tell me how you fix the hose? And he can't, because he's not made that knowledge wisdom, because he's never practiced it. He's never applied what he learned. Application. But the person who has the experience can regurgitate. He can talk to me about real-time fixing a car, because it's all he's ever done. So who am I hiring? I'm hiring the young man with the grease under his fingers, because he's the one who can demonstrate the ability to do the job. I need the car fixed. I don't want to read about it being fixed. I want it fixed when I come to a place. And that's what employers are looking for. They want the best bang for their buck. I want the most qualified applicant. Not somebody who went to school and never practiced, but someone who put that information to work. You know, if it's a training job, it's different. If I'm looking to train somebody, that's different. But if I'm looking to pay some money and get something done, well, I want the person who can verbalize their ability to do it. So that's the reason for the tests and all that stuff. You've proven that you can do the work.
From day one.
From day one.
Day one. Mm-hmm. So is there a balance? Because you want the person who has the mechanic, who has the dirt under their fingernails and can perform the task. How heavy is education weighed against experience in the workplace? Should I even bother going to college or a major university or a trade school if my experience can demonstrate that I have the knowledge to perform the accounting work? Mm-hmm. Because my family owns a bookkeeping, or I've worked as a CPA's assistant. I don't have the licensure, the licensing, the certifications, but I can put this pen on paper and I can make the numbers right. So should I even bother? Should my audience even bother worrying about school anymore and going for that master, going for that doctor or business degree?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there is a place for everything. I mean, everybody talks about personal mastery. So, I mean, you should train yourself. You should get education, and definitely depending on what job. We don't want a doctor who didn't go to school. We don't want you to learn how to operate on people in the woods. We want you to go to school, even though I'm sure it has happened in some places. So we have to look at what kind of job it is. But even, like I said, even book knowledge, even when you go to college, there's a time when you take that education and they send you off to work in the field. Let's take social workers. Like at the medical center, you have to have a master's degree in social work. You have to have a license, which you sat and took the test and passed and got your licensed clinical social worker, or your ability to practice independently as a social worker. And you need a year post you earning your degree experience before we'll hire you at the higher level of that position. Because the person who has not worked post their degree has no experience, which means that when they come in, somebody's got to watch them. Somebody's got to ensure they don't kill anybody, that they don't give advice that someone jumps off of a bridge. So if you need me to help you, then I'm not going to pay you top dollar yet. But when you gain the experience, then I'll move you up to the level that you should be. It's the same thing. A degree is great to have, but it's a wrong thought process to believe that only people with degrees excel. I don't have any. I tell everybody that I have enough college credits. If you add them all together, I probably have 4 doctorate degrees. I've been to so many schools. And life happens to people. Yes, you might be in school and, somebody dies, or you had young kids. Anything can happen and you just couldn't finish. Because we all know online schools are set up to get your money. You can't continue. You can't get your transcript because you owe money. Anything can happen. Experience will always help. And that's where you have to work. You work hard and you matriculate, through the system, because there's also the school of experience. So, of course, the person who's been doing the work is still going to have a great impact on the organization. A person's going to want the person who has done the work. It's like military people, the veterans that come out. At the VA, we love them. Even though they never worked in a medical center, we know that in real time that many veterans do a lot of things. It's not on their DD-214.
Right.
But we know that on the war zone or in the field, they're not the commander. But if the commander is killed and he's the one that's left, he becomes the commander.
Right.
He has to do what's needed. His thought process has to change, or her thought process has to change, and she has to then put into practice that same level of experience as the commander who just lost his life in order to survive. Well, that's what we want in our jobs as well. We will take the education, but we do kind of want you to know how to do something. And so you should, when you go to school, you need to seek out some on-the-job training. You need to seek out working in your field for a while. You need to try to do what you just read about. Don't just read about it and then want somebody to hire you. Unless your family owns a business and, they can just put you to work. Because sometimes it's what people do. True. But there are organizations that have a lot of learning or on-the-job training. The VA has training programs and internships. And so we take people that don't know the job per se yet, and we train them. Because even when you go to a company with experience, everybody does things differently. True. So we believe that a well-qualified candidate, or a candidate that's really going to be good, needs at least 90 days to learn your way or your method, to take the educational experience they have and learn how to do it your way, the way you want it done at your company. So there's still a learning curve for somebody who has experience, but someone who has experience is going to learn quickly, or quicker than the person who has none. because that's that thing about applying the education and making it wisdom. You know, doing it for a while. You know, even you go to nail school, they teach you to do nails in nail class. They don't just give you a certificate. You do nails because you got to do you got to know how to put the acrylic on somebody's fingers and them to like it before they're going to pay you their money.
And not get infected.
Right. You know, there's a lot of things to learn about the things that you're doing with people. You know, especially, you know, clinical or, like, you know, for clinical jobs, you got to have education. For certain things, like, you know, accounting, you need to know, you know, what's a negative and what's a positive. You have to know what ledgers are. You have to know. So you need the education. But you should learn how to, you know, count money long before you go to school to be an accountant. Because you're going to have your own money in your pocket while you're growing up. You know, certain things, you know, you should know anyway. But you got to learn how to apply it. So, you know, it's not a waste of time. I think education is great. But I don't want anybody to think that they have to have it in order to excel. Because I'm sitting in a seat running an office where I went to a job that I didn't have any experience doing. And I became the boss in 5 years. So I tell people, readers are leaders, leaders are readers. You can always educate yourself once you're in a position. And if you're smart, if you're a person who has goals, a person who has drive, then you're going to learn everything you can about the thing you're supposed to be getting paid to do. You're not going to sit there and just say, I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to ever learn. I read everything I could, and I learned everything I could. I took advantage of every class I could take. And that's what people who have drive, that's what people do who want to become something better than what they are at the time that they start. People who want to go to the top, they don't stop until they get there. They do what they have to do to get there. So education or not, you can be what you want to be. You know, you just got to look for the open door and walk through it. That's all.
That's powerful. That's powerful. What are two questions that when you interview, obviously the board, you're asking the interviewee a lot of questions, but as an interviewer, what responses, two questions that you would like, because they always ask at the end of every interview, do you have any questions for us? Mm-hmm. Should a candidate do some research before attending that first initial interview? Or, you know, should he come in there with some background on the company or some background on the position and bring those questions prepared to ask you for that position? Does that help? Or show interest? I mean, what is that? Is that even helpful or meaningful to an employer?
It's absolutely helpful. I mean, the old school has not been torn down, contrary to popular belief. I mean, if I ask you, you're asking to work at my company, and you come, and we've interviewed you, I've asked you 1,000 questions, and I say, is there anything you want to ask me? And you say, absolutely not. I haven't told you what you're going to make. I haven't told you what hours you're going to work. I haven't told you what kind of people are in our department. I haven't told you what my company's goal is going to be, what we hope to accomplish at my organization. I haven't told you anything, and you haven't asked me. Then why do you want my job? Why do you want to work there? Can I pay you $4 as opposed to the $25 I advertised? Because a lot of jobs say salaries are negotiable. They have a scale. They begin at one end and they end at another. And I don't ask you, how much money are you going to pay me? What determines what you're going to pay me? What do I need to have to get the top end of the scale as opposed to the bottom?
So I should talk money out the gate?
If there's a scale given. I mean, I'm saying that's just one of the questions. I mean, if you got to think about asking people something, I mean, you should do research. I mean, you should be asking, like, at the VA, what is your mission? What do they do at the VA? What do they do here? What do you all hope to do?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and I should be able to say to that person, well, so-and-so and so-and-so thing happens. Or somebody should ask me, what is the workload in your office? Is it heavy? You know, what happens during the day? How many people are assigned to the teams? How many shifts do we work? Or do we work straight day shift? What is expected of me when I come there? People don't ask me anything, don't show me that they have an interest in my job. They don't tell me anything. I ask people, what is it that you need from us to do my job well? And people say, I don't need anything.
Ooh.
And I look at them and I go, really? You don't need anything? So if I bring you here, you'll be able to perform everything without any assistance. And when I say that, and then when I said, they go, oh, no, I need to learn so-and-so and so-and-so. Because what we're looking for is, have you made an assessment of who you are? Have you assessed your real-time ability? You could be good. It doesn't mean you're not good. It just means that I haven't worked at your organization. I don't really know how you perform these things. So I'm going to need someone to show me your method of doing these things that's different than what I've been used to doing. I work well in large teams, not necessarily small teams. Are this team small or large? I have a problem with certain things. Is there someone that can help me with that when I come? So we're looking to find out that you have read about the company, that you read my vacancy announcement, that you read enough about the job. Because on USA Jobs, which is the federal site,
pages.
We write 8 pages of information for you to read. I tell people, read and do everything it says. That's the acronym READ. Read and do everything it says. So if you don't read it, then you don't really know what's expected. I have people who tell me they don't even know where the job is located.
Oh no.
And it's right there. It says it's in Chesapeake. Well, I don't want to work in Hampton, but you applied to the Chesapeake vacancy announcement.
Oh no.
It matters. To me, it means that you're carefree and careless about how you're applying for your position. You're not serious about your career at all. You just want to work at whatever job that is, which means you probably have no loyalty to my company. You'll leave as soon as somebody offers you a higher dollar amount.
Ooh.
We're making assessments about people every time they're talking in our interviews. People ask, when I ask you what your strengths and weaknesses are, you should know what they are. But if you identify weakness, you should also know. You should also be able to tell me how you're working to fix it. Don't give me a weakness and not tell me that you've discovered it and you're not fixing it.
That's the key.
That's the key. Are you fixing it? I tell a joke all the time that, they ask you what's your weakness. So I'm late every day, at least 15 minutes. And so I say, when you tell a person, they look at you, I say, at least you need to say, but I identified it, sir or ma'am. So I bought 42 clocks and I got them all set for the same time. So in the morning, I have a heart attack when they all go off, but I'm on time for work. And even though it's really funny to people, it's an example of identifying your weakness and finding a way to fix it. Because it's not true that you have no weaknesses. Everybody has a weakness.
I'm perfect.
Everybody has one. Yeah, that's how people score themselves. They give themselves 100 perfect score. But just a lie. We know you're lying. So, be honest about what you need help with. Because, most people don't like to say weakness. But, this is some things I need your assistance with. I'm good at typing, but I'm not so good with proofreading. Or, I'm good with talking to people, but I'm not so good face-to-face in training. I get really nervous. I need assistance. I'm probably going to need the ability to become a speaker for people so I can learn how to do it without being really nervous, especially if the job calls for it. So you need to identify those things before you come to your interview so you can be honest with the person you're speaking to about what it is you need. And when you do that, it makes you transparent, and it makes you personable to the person who's interviewing you. And say, oh, he's pretty cool. He's a nice guy. She's a nice lady. I can deal with that. That was really good that she said or that he said that. I can deal with that. I'd be willing to work with them. As opposed
on
to
that issue.
Person. Or period. Because who wants a smug know-it-all who has no problems? And we know you do. Because I'm going to do a reference check anyway. And then, I call your reference check and they tell me that you have problems all over the place, but you were perfect when you were talking to me. So I mean, it's better to just, identify your own issues, because it means you're doing introspection. You're self-aware. It's called, am I interpersonally effective? Do I get along well with people? Everybody's not made to work with people. Some people need to be behind the scenes.
True.
You should identify that. So I don't put you in front and you cussing out all my customers all day. But if you tell me, that's what, sir or ma'am, this is probably not the job for you because, you're going to be out front all day long. And I'm saying, well, no, I can't do it. I don't like people. I don't want to do that. But you got to know before you can say that to somebody. Because it's your life. It's your job. You want to be halfway happy. At least you want more than just money. If you're miserable every day, it wouldn't matter how much they're paying you. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So
true. So how you touched on a lot, and I'm shocked by that. I just learned that because I was always told and taught to not mention salary or money at that interview because you don't know that you even got the position. So that's unique, and I hope everyone heard that and heard those talking points to say, listen, ask the question, ask what's on your heart, and mention the weaknesses, but also mention the strengths and mention what you're working on, and say what you're improving on. And if you haven't figured out a way, be honest and say, I have identified this about myself, and I don't know how to fix it just yet, but I'm actively searching. I'm actively pursuing my betterment. My last two questions I'm going to ask is, I know, because I'm a veteran myself, I know other veterans who get out the military and they're hurt. Mm-hmm. They have a disability, lost a pinky toe, lost a finger, mm-hmm. so they feel like that piece is discriminated against them in the workplace. How, and I know from experience applying for the VA that I find that to not be true. Mm-hmm. And I find that to be a complete falsehood, that they respect and they understand that you may have come from a war zone. You may have certain traumas that you're dealing with, but they still want you, and they still want you in the workplace. But how does the VA accommodate that, or how does should I even mention that I have a disability when I apply? Should I say that? Should I say that I'm missing a digit on my finger or a piece of my finger, or I'm hard of hearing, on my resume?
I would let's do federal sector. So for federal sector, and this is any federal agency, we are not allowed. We are an equal opportunity employer. So we are not allowed to discriminate against any person, not just veterans, because of a disability. That's why we accommodate. And it's not just the federal government. Other agencies are supposed to accommodate their staff as well. They're supposed to accommodate people, because a lot of people have disabilities. There are blind people. There's Braille. There are people who can't hear, but there are other mechanisms. There are people who don't have arms, but they can type using Dragon, different things. So for the federal government, when you apply to a position, there are certain appointment authorities. So there are certain things that you would upload to your application that let me and HR know that you have particular disabilities. Some things I may not see, because you can't see a psychiatric disability. True. You can only see physical disabilities. So there are some things, there are even some illnesses that you cannot see. They're chronic and they're disabling, but unless you're in full, blown attack, we might not ever know. So we don't send that information forward to a selecting official, because unfortunately there are some selecting officials who will discriminate. They'll never say it, but we know in the real world that happens. But it happens less than people think, because most people never know that anyone is disabled. But I will say that it's unfair for you to say get the job or get the offer and never explain to someone that you have a need in order to do the work. For instance, we had a young man who was a social worker at our agency, and he's a quadriplegic. We hired him, but he needed things. He had to have an aide that was with him all day long on the job to feed him and help him to go to the bathroom. We had to build particular space for him in order for him to work. But we did it because he was a licensed clinical social worker who had a disability, who has a disability. But his knowledge was such that we needed the experience that he had, his knowledge base, to get the job. And he had a specialty. And that didn't keep him from doing that. His position only required his head, not his hands or his legs.
Wow.
So we hired him. So it would depend on, can we accommodate a person in a particular position? Because if we can, we do. So if you need, even for an interview, you'll see on the job vacancy it says, do you need assistance in order to be interviewed? If you do, contact this person. Do we need to bring in an interpreter? If you're deaf, we'll bring in someone. We pay people to come and do sign language for people when they're interviewing.
Wow.
If the person shows that they can do the position, then however they can accomplish that, then we are obligated to hire them if that's who we choose. If we find that the reference is great, that everything else is fine, we hire that person. And especially at the medical center, we have a percentage. We are mandated. We are a VA, a veterans hospital. So we're mandated to hire veterans. The only problem we have in this area is that we are heavily militarized. So there are many veterans. And unfortunately, every veteran believes themselves to be the best person for the job. And we get anywhere from 100 to 200 or 300 applications per one vacancy at a time. So if you can imagine going through 300 people and having at least 200 of those be veterans, and making a choice between those people, it gets pretty difficult. But there are things that allow veterans to be the only people we can pick, or certain jobs that are set aside for only veterans. And there's a lot of things that help us to hire the veterans, as well as what we call Schedule A, who are people who are disabled who are not veterans. A disabled person is what we call a Schedule A. And we can hire those people as well as disabled veterans non-competitively, which means we can hire them off the street if we want to without the use of an announcement. And we do it a lot. We do it a lot. People just need to go ahead and apply. And they need to be honest and say they need help. Because if it's not affecting their ability to do the work, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. No, don't apply to be a forklift operator if you can't drive the truck. I mean, so it makes a difference in what you're trying to do. And some people, it's funny, but people do those kinds of things. They apply for positions they cannot do or they cannot perform, and then they blame the agency for not selecting them. But really, it was way out of the ballpark before they ever applied. So, you have to use some common sense. You have to really, look at the things you really can do, assess your abilities, and apply for the things that you want to do, that you're able to do, or that you're able to do with some assistance, because we will pay for it. Private sector does the same thing. There are some agencies that are harsher on the disabled. They won't tell you that, but we know that it's true. But they are under the same ADA accommodations that we are at the medical centers. So it's not true. You can be hired. Most people don't get jobs because they don't do well in their interviews, or their resumes, they stink. They just stink. And so, before you blame somebody, you need to take a look at, is everything that I presented worthy of the job? And if it wasn't, then go back to the drawing board and make it right. That's most of the time what happens. You did horribly on your resume or horribly on your interview. Nobody discriminated against you. You just didn't do a good job. So, if it's not that, then you can start talking about something else. So that's usually the case.
Yes, ma'am. My last question, you're my mom, I could talk to you all night.
Yeah.
My last question is, are there things that my resume should reflect? Does it help? You said it earlier. Are there things that help my resume stand out? Should I put it on colored paper to stand out against the 200, 300 applicants? Should my resume be double-sided? Should it be 4 pages long? Should I list everything I've done, or just the things that are applicable to the position? Are there things that, should I have 1 reference, 2 references? Should I have a professional reference and 2 personal references? What are things to make that reference stand out besides my qualifications? Is there anything that I can do to make it help stand out?
I mean, the best way I can say it, and I've been doing this a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
So I tell people, if you think about advertising, or you think about yourself as a product, and we watch TV all day long, and there are a million commercials. A lot of the commercials advertise the same product. And the reason that people buy a particular product is because of the type of advertisement that was done. What they said about the product. How they presented it. What they boasted their abilities were. What they showed the person that they had more than the other product that was just like them. That's what your resume is. I tell people, your resume is your voice. These days, we don't have to interview. People see your resume long before they see you. Now, private sector is a little different. Private sector these days are still some companies are still doing the face-to-face where they look at your resume and call you in. They only want a 1-page or 2-page resume with your bullet points that show your ability that pertains to their job. So we have that in common. Everybody wants to know what you could do that pertains to the job they're trying to hire for. So don't give me a resume highlighting your abilities as a culinary chef if I'm hiring a bulldozer driver. I don't, it can be on there. It can be on there, but I'm really looking for your ability to drive a bulldozer. So I'll just say that it's your advertisement. It is your commercial for who you are. So if I'm doing a commercial and I know that there are going to be several loaves of bread on the table, several resumes, all bread, everybody's selling bread, I need to make my loaf of bread, though I'm bread like everybody else, be the bread that the person who's looking to buy is going to purchase. I do that by telling them the things that my loaf will do for them that's different than the other people. there's going to be some things that they do just like me, because it's all bread. They might all be white. They all might be toasted. They might all be. But my bread has grains in it. It has MCT oil in it. It has vitamins that will cater to my mind, keep me focused. You know, it has things that these other breads don't have. This person types 40. I type 110 words per minute.
Ouch.
You know, I come with a gift box. I come packaged different. And I call your gift box the thing that you bring to a job that you never asked me to bring. So there are companies that hire, they're looking for a typist. But I am certified as an alternate dispute resolution person. I have my certification as a counselor. I have different things that, maybe I am a culinary chef. Maybe I am a trainer, certified. I'm Lean Six Sigma, certified. I got black belt in that. I'm a project manager, certified. All those things, that's my gift box. You didn't ask me for any of that.
Right.
But I'm bringing it. So that's going to be on my resume. Because that's the other stuff in my loaf of bread that other people aren't going to have. It's going to taste better than theirs because I have some extra stuff. I got extra vanilla. You know, I'm some sweet bread. Butter is in it. It's good. So I want them to see that that's what it is. So I'm going to put that gift box. I need you to know, look, when you hire me, you get all these other things. So at one point in time in any job that you not find yourself, you know, resolving issues or doing something they didn't obviously pay you for. Because we all got that other duties as a sign tag in our resumes and PDs, right?
Yes,
we all. So they want to know, what do you have I can use? So you got to have that there. You got to have your demographic stuff. And like I said, if you're applying for a job, you can tell them about your other stuff. You know, I've done some other work too. That can be on your resume. But everybody gets stuck on that chronological resume, which is great. But we really should be doing resumes these days that give qualifying work experience. The experience we have that qualifies us for the job for which we're applying. Like, I need you to see as the selecting official that, hey, I got 20 years doing just this thing right here. This is what I've done. Read this right here first. Look at my gift box, see, because I'm fantastic. You know, when you open up my beautiful wrapper, you're going to get all these other beautiful things. The aroma's going to come out. You know, you're going to smell all the butter. It's going to be great. But then you're going to look down and you're going to see the raisins and nuts. You're going to see all the experience I have for this job. I've been doing this for 20 years. And then I'm also, I'm also going to tell them that I did the job well, but not only did I do it well, but I'm going to let them know that I was awarded some things for it, that I had some best practices that I established that were adopted by my company, that when I first started, the rate was at 10%, I increased it to 90% because of what I did, and the company gave me these awards for it. I'm going to have that in my resume because I'm not just fantastic when I did. I'm extra fantastic. Extra. You know, I mean, it's really good. My color is beautiful. It's beautiful. I did all these things. And then at the end, I might tell you my other experience that it's going to be a little abbreviated because you don't really care about that. But I'm going to tell you about it because it's transferable to the workplace. So I'm going to tell you the other things that I do as well. You're not hiring me as a typist, but I do. You know, I read and proof. I'm a circuit speaker. You know, I train people. You know, I'm a trainer. You know, so if you need me to teach, that's what I do. You know, I do that. And I'm going to tell you about that in my other activity. I'm going to talk to you about that. And if the job requires education and licensure, I'm going to tell you how many licenses and educations that I do have. And I'm going to give you my degrees as well. I'm going to tell you, I have a master's and a doctorate degree. I earned it this year. This is the type of degree, and this is when I earned it. Don't just tell me you earned it. Don't tell me when. And even when you went to school and you didn't get your degree, for the federal government, it pays if you tell me how many hours you completed towards your degree. Because hours equal time. We give you credit for your hours towards experience. It's general, but it's experience. So you did 33 hours. 18 hours is 1 year's worth of work. So if you have 36 hours, you got 2 years of experience. But I don't know because you didn't tell me. But you need to tell people, I went to school 2 years doing this. I didn't earn my degree yet. But I have 2 years of academic experience. And think about if your experience is after your master's. 2 years towards your doctorate. That's high level experience, high level education, which will help you in some positions. So you want to make sure that your resume reflects who you are, what that person. It's a shopping list. You know, I'm looking for this. This is, hey, you looking for bread? It's me. It's me. You know, listen. Look no further. Hire me. I have all the things that you want, and then some extras. So whatever it takes for you to show that, you need to tell people You need to have references. Some people have gotten the habit from high school saying references will be provided upon request.
That's
well, in the federal government, now private sector may want you to do that. I can't speak that much about. I haven't worked a private sector job in 33 years. But the federal government, see, because we don't have the interview, when we get ready to do a reference, we don't have to we don't want to find you, search you out, trying to get a name from you. We want you to give us a reference we can call right away, because we may look at your resume and decide, I want him or her. I just got to call their reference. But you didn't give me any. So then every time I call you, you're not answering your phone. You're not answering. So 3 days go by and I haven't gotten you on the phone and you haven't returned my call. So you know what I just did? I went to the next candidate because I'm tired of looking for you, because you should have given it to me. And we don't. Personal references are great, but I want the person that can attest to your ability to do the job. I want your supervisor, and I want some other folks who talk about you professionally, even though personal is good too. But I want those last, because those are your friends and your family members that love you. They love you. They're going to say anything because you've been living at their house for free. They want you to get a job. So I want to talk to them. I want to talk to those people that are going to say, oh, well, he wasn't really good at that. I want those people. So give me those things. Give me everything I'm looking for. Tell me how long you worked there. Don't just tell me you worked there from 2001 to 2002. Because for the federal government, we quantify time. 2001 to 2002 could have been December 31st, 2001 to January 1st, 2002. That's 2 whole different years, but it's 2 whole days.
Right.
And I need somebody who had a year's worth of experience. I can't give you credit for that, and I won't. Neither will my staff. You got to tell me. And it helps to put your money on your resume. You don't have to. Private sector may not want to know, but for us, we're looking to see the level of complexity of work. If they paid you $200,000 to do a job, it was pretty complex. We know that you had a big job at that company, making that kind of money. So we want to see what you got. We want to know where you're making, were you a chef that was making $650? Or were you a chef that was making $34.50? Because we assume at $650 you the one that was bringing the seasonings to the real chef. You was stirring and stuff when they finished cooking. So those are the kind of things we're looking for. We're looking for the information. You gotta sell yourself. Your resume is your voice. It's the thing that speaks for you before you get an interview. You may not ever get an interview, but if you do, it will be because your resume said enough to qualify you, and you wanted to do that, because we don't have to. We don't have to interview. So if you can tell it all to me right there, and I'm satisfied with that, then that's all it's going to take. I just hired a young lady at the VA who was doing a job in Boston. We never met her. Her resume came through for an administrative officer in surgical service. She's a business manager in primary care in Boston. I took her resume and forwarded her resume to the chief of primary care. That young lady started working a month after I forwarded her resume, and I got her a $10,000 relocation bonus to come here, because she's doing the job that we needed her to do, and she's doing. Her resume was phenomenal. Phenomenal. And her references were listed, and they were phenomenal. She's been working. She started June 21st. I recruited her the first week in June, and she dropped everything and came. And
she matched every expectation.
Her resume was phenomenal, and she didn't apply for that job. She applied for something else, but because her resume listed her abilities, that they weren't looking for that loaf of bread. But the chief of primary care wanted what she had, and she bought it. And offered her more than the people over here did. They didn't offer her a relocation bonus. So she's working. She hasn't sold her house yet, but she's here living on $10,000 until she decides to do so. But that's because her resume was great. And they interviewed her. She was the only candidate. They interviewed her, and she blew that out of the water because she's good at what she does. We searched for years for somebody with her ability, and I could see it on the resume. So I sent it, and they hired her. That's what recruiters do. So anytime you apply, you never know who's looking. And if you're a veteran who's able to be hired non-competitively, or anyone else, maybe I don't want you for this job, but who knows what else is in your resume, what else is in your loaf of bread that somebody else wants to eat. You never know. So if you don't say it, it's not advertised. Your wrapper is closed, it is hidden, and the ingredients can't be seen. You got to share what it is that you have to offer someone. Why would I eat you as opposed to this piece of bread over here? Because I'm better. I'm better. I do well. Give me a shot. and let somebody do that for you. And people need to look at it. People don't look at their resumes. They just use it as a sheet of paper that goes through once, but they don't use it as their voice. And that's exactly what it is. I can't say it enough to people. It is your voice. So speak loudly with your resume about who you are and what you do. I am the best of the best. If you buy me, you purchase me, you'll never shop again, because I'm going to be everything you need to the day you go home. I'm going to be great. I'm great at what I do. And people, and then, of course, do what you say you're going to do when you get there. But that's the long and short of it. You have to look at what people are looking for. Like I said, private sector is a little different. I'm talking from a federal perspective. Private sector doesn't expect as much, and they will interview you sometime. But a lot of private sector companies are doing what we're doing too as well. So it just depends. Do your research. Find out what they want. I'm working with tax classes now because they teach veterans not to do federal resumes. We have no page limit in the federal government. There is none. My resume is 9 pages long. I have 33 years of experience, and there's not a job that I apply to that I don't get interviewed for, because my experience blows it out of the water. My loaf of bread is worth the bite.
And you're going to get, the company will get its money's worth every single time.
Exactly. And there's other people that do HR, but my background is still great. So there haven't been many. I've gotten offers and lots I turned down because it's not what I wanted. But I interview. I apply all the time just to keep my interview skills up.
Wow.
So, you got to learn how to keep your skills up. Do what you need to do. Always update your resume. As you do new things, update it all the time. Your resume should be a live, living document that you update as you do new things. It should always be there. It shouldn't be the same today that it was 5 years ago. It should be different because you've lived something different. You've done something different. You've learned something different. If you haven't, you need to examine your life because something's the matter. But it should be different. It's a living document, a breathing document, a speaking document. So people need to learn to do it. If they do that, they'll do fine. And just lastly, I just want to say it's a law of large numbers. Just remember that when you apply or you write a resume, that there are other people who are good just like you. You're not the only good person. But there's somebody you're better than. I'm just saying there's somebody. Present your best foot. But remember that if you bombard the market with your name, eventually you will be the person that they want. If you quit, you're never going to succeed.
Consistency.
Yeah, you got to just put your name. Aggravated. Oh my God, let me give him a job. If I see his resume one more time, that's hired. That's hired. Trying to tell you, I'm telling you, I see it all the time. If you keep doing it, eventually you will be the person that they hire. Don't quit. That's the only thing that keeps you from succeeding is quitting. So keep on doing it. Just keep on applying and make sure you're giving your best foot forward.
Powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the lovely, incredible, amazing Miss Jackie. I'm applauding. I hope you all are applauding her, but I want to say, Mom, thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom, your spirit, your energy, your knowledge. And I know this helped. This helped me. I don't know about y'all. This helped me, and I know it's going to help you all as you prepare to go back into the workforce and change your lives dramatically and change our economy and take care of your families. So, Mom, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting my page. Thank you for tuning in. Any last words? Is there Instagram handle, a social media thing that you want to share, your email that you want to share for anyone that's interested in just picking your brain or getting counseling from you, resume tips? Is there anything you want to share?
I'm Jacqueline Williams on Facebook as well. Jacqueline C. Williams on Facebook. You can contact me through Facebook page or just from Instant Messenger. I'm available, and of course I'm available at work, so you can call me. I might not counsel you at work, but I'll give you a method to reach me outside of work.
Absolutely. So thank you again, men and ladies and gentlemen. Now that my audience is growing, I now have ladies subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, please take care of your families, take care of your homes, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman and Jackie Williams signing off from Gentleman Style Podcast. Love you. Have a great night.